Greetings. This is an overview of the new tcDualSequencer plugin. It's kind of the name sort of says it all. There's two sequencers that operate, independently, with a sense that they can have different lengths, they can have different directions that they travel. You can perform different operations like shift right, shift left, shuffle, pick some randoms, select the number of octaves of randoms you want to go. Each sequencer has its own velocity and its own channel. You can enable and disable sequencers, and you can also mute them so that they still run but they don't produce any output. There's a central clock that determines the tempo of the sequence. You can multiply that clock down by a half to slow it down, or you can double it up to 2. There's a swing option to where you can add some swing to the clock to where every other note is swung, whatever the percentage you set here. There's a sync to the host transport, or you can just play manually. With the two sequencers, there's a mode that controls how the sequencers are traversed, if you will. Right, so there's a series mode which says you want to run one sequencer all the way to the end, then you want to run the second sequencer all the way to its end, and vice versa. So they sort of loop like that, like a chain set in a series. There's also a mode that's called alternate, which is where it'll pick one step from each sequencer at a time. Like it'll pick from A, then it'll jump to B, then it'll pick back from A and jump to B. And each sequencer is traveling in the direction that its direction indicates it should travel in. I'll demonstrate that in a minute here. There's a parallel, which is where you run both sequencers at the same time and both notes are emitted. You can also throw a swing on that, and I'll show you that in a little bit here. Or you can just pick randomly, it'll randomly pick one of the sequencers and pick one note from that sequencer, wherever the step index happens to be. The sync button allows you to synchronize both sequencers to start at the same position, and I'll explain that later. That's no big deal. Or you can also add a directional chaos, which rather than just always picking the next step, you can have it pick a random step occasionally, just sort of jump out of sequence. There's a scale snapping. You can use a Euclidean sequencer to control the velocity accent. You can have a random octave up, a random percentage of skipped. You can have some random velocity adjustments, just to sort of throw some chaos in there, and you can adjust the gate length of the output. So let me fire this up and we'll just give a listen. It's really the best way to appreciate it. So here's Hive. It's very, very simple. It's just a basic kind of a electric piano sort of sound. And I will fire it up. Right now everything's at 0. It's just how it initializes to that. So you can see that it's going through sequencer number 1. It'll jump down to sequencer number 2. If I shorten the length here, let's do that. So we'll throw some random numbers up here. And everything's getting snapped to scale. Let's do a minor pent. All right, now, so to demonstrate this though, so right now this sequencer, the top sequencer A, is going forward. I can set it to go reverse, and it'll travel in the reverse direction. And the other sequencer just remains going forward. You can also do a ping pong. Or you can do a walk, which takes a random chance of picking the step immediately to the left or immediately to the right, and it wraps around the end. Or you could just pick random, just grab a random step. So let's do, okay, so that's in series, and the two sequencers are just running one at a time, and they're each following their own independent direction. And if I alternate, you should see it so this step, let me speed this up a little bit, it's easier to see. I'll change them both to forward. So you can see that it selects the next deserving step based on the current direction of the sequencer each time it picks a sequencer. Now if I go parallel, so now it's kicking out two two notes are coming out, one from each sequencer. Now if I kick up the swing a little bit, it delays the output of the second sequencer by whatever percentage of the beat time is, so you can get a nice temporal swing. And clicking the sync just sets both sequencers back to their initial position based on the direction. Let me turn this one off. Oops. Well, that's a bug. Sorry about that. I will fix that. Okay. Okay, it's off. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened there. I'll look into that. Anyway, where was I headed? I don't remember. Okay, well, whatever. Oh, the directional chaos. Yeah, you can see right now it's just streaming left to right. If I turn up the directional chaos, occasionally it'll jump to a different position. And that affects both sequencers. Now the velocity accent, if I turn up the accent, that's going to add that much. Like the velocity on this sequencer is set to 80, so if I turn it up to 32, let me turn this down a bit. So that it'll add the velocity accent to the velocity of the sequencer, and when the steps, which indicated here by the blue LEDs, when the steps are active. So if I were to do something like a 7/3, of course there's probably no velocity trigger on this. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. I should have prepared in general. But you can have up to 16 steps. You can do as many pulses as you want during those 16 steps. You can rotate the sequence. You can disable the sequence to have no velocity accent. One trick is to turn the velocity all the way down. And then you only get notes while there's an active pulse. There's also an octave up, chances of going an octave higher randomly. And there's a skip percentage, so you can skip a random percentage of notes. Just thins out the output. Velocity chaos just adds, plus or minus some velocity on each of the notes, just to sort of vary things and get a nice sequence going that way. And then the gate length is a multiple of the beat time, basically. So if I bring the gate length all the way down, or up to 4 times as long. For the scale snap, you can pick out your tonic note. about that. I'm hearing this humming or something. Anyway, yeah, you can pick out your tonic note, and it'll apply that scale, like in this case would be a C minor pentatonic, rooted at the octave 4, starting at where octave is 0. And of course, adding a nice modulated delay afterwards always kind of brings out a lot in a sequence. So anyway, yeah, it's a happy accident machine. It's really not. Well, I mean, you can dial in any kind of sequence you want here, right? I mean, it's plus or minus 2 octaves. So if you want to craft a specific sequence, you can do that. I sometimes just let things go random and then mess with the octave a little bit, add a little bit of skip, a little bit of velocity chaos, right? Occasional accents, and then select a scale, and sort of let things just kind of find their own way. Oh yeah, you can do, it does presets. You can load presets, copy and paste to the clipboard. Right now there's no presets for it because it's just brand new. I haven't built any yet. But I'm hoping that if people get a chance to try it out, that maybe people would be able to contribute some presets so we can include those in future releases. What else? Let's see. The last thing, I didn't show the play button. Just starts the sequence, and you can lock it to the transport or unlock it to the transport so that even if the transport's playing, it won't play until you press the play button. All right, that's it. It's a freebie. I'll drop the link in the video, and let me know how you like it. Have fun. Thank you.